can pretty much sum up the New York Football Giants. This is Tim's New York Giants Red Talk, powered by Line Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about Malik? Won't you be my neighbors? Want to talk about the Tom Brady comments in reference to Daniel Jones? And I kind of just want to discuss the Giants in general. It's one of those things that there's the talk, there's a speculation that Joe Shane and Brian Daboll should be brought back for year 4. I don't see it. I mean, I'm looking at this from an objective football perspective. I don't fucking see it. It's just crazy because of the fact that what have they done to really sit there and give this thumbs up or this faith to the organization, to the rest of the ownership that makes you think that they can come here and turn this around, because they started 7-2, 2-5-1, 6-11, and they're probably going to win 2 games this year. So they've steadily gotten worse. The roster has steadily gotten worse. There is talent, but we've talked about it a million times. It's cut and paste talent. So what makes anyone believe that this is going to get any better by having the likes of Shane and Daboll here? I'm really dumbfounded and befuddled by anyone that has any type of football knowledge would say, you know what? Oh, they really need to have a year 4. I'm getting a little tired of Malik. Won't you be my neighbor? Only because of the fact that, listen, this kid has a talent. This kid is talent. This kid has immense talent. But the problem is he has the attitude to go with it, but he also doesn't have the performance to back up the attitude. He's had the oopsies or the drops recently, and he's had it ever since, he's had it ever since. And he had a ton of targets this game, and he's happy now. He's happy. But he doesn't care about the alarming number of drop passes. Or the fact that on that third down in the first half, where he was wide open across the middle, and yeah, there was someone trailing behind him, but all of a sudden he had alligator arms. And I know they're saying that he only had 2 drops. I actually counted 4 drops. And it ties him in second place for the most drops in the NFL this season. The only person who has more drops is Amari Cooper. And then he comes out after the game. Now, this is the guy that, they want me to talk. They want me to say things. Who is they? I still wonder who the fuck they is. He comes out and says, I don't care about the drops. I mean, it's just part of football. I don't care if I drop the ball 6 times, keep throwing me the ball. Why do I keep throwing you the ball if you continuously drop it? I mean, right now, if you take a look at his drop, what is his percentage drop rate right now? It's like 8.5%. That leads all rookie wide receivers with drops, and has more drops than any other receiver with plus 100 targets. That's not acceptable, guys. That's not someone that can run his mouth and sit there and say, I don't really care how many drops I have. Just keep throwing me the damn ball. You're not Keyshawn Johnson. Hell, Keyshawn Johnson wasn't Keyshawn Johnson. I'm looking at his talent, and I'm like, honestly, if you watch his moves and watch his ball, watch his after the catch and everything that he does, what he reminds me of? It reminds me of Kadarius Toney. I had to hear all the time about how Kadarius Toney was this pinball guy. Now, 100%, there is a difference between Malik Nabers and Kadarius Toney, 1,000%. And that 1,000% is the fact that he actually can run routes. But we have now watched his yards per reception drop below 10. He still only has 3 touchdowns this year. He's been targeted 116 times. I mean, what are we waiting for? His longest reception is 39 yards. Literally, what are we waiting for this guy? You would think by dumb luck from the number of targets he has, he would have busted a play by now. But he's got a 9.9 yards per reception. 9.9. His yak. We're not even gonna get into the yak because we've talked about the yak. The yak for a guy that is supposed to be this burner, is supposed to be this speed guy, is supposed to be able to get away from people, is ridiculously fucking low. He's got like I think right now his catch percentage is like 52.6. That's bad, guys. I'm thinking if I get targeted 116 times, hell, I may come down with 30 catches. People will point out, well, he's still on pace for like 120 receptions and like 1,300 yards. Yeah, great, but if you don't get in the end zone, what the fuck good is that? You don't play the game. The game is not played just between the 20s. And if you want to run your mouth, you want to be boisterous, you want to be bigger than life, you have to actually do something. And Malik is under the impression that all he has to do is wear the number 1.
God damn. Only in America.
Only in America, and only with the New York Giants can you have this lack of production where you're taking 6 overall to save the quarterback, and what happens? The quarterback gets waived. Do you think it might have had something to do with that? So now it's going to be Malik's going to run his mouth. He's going to talk, but he's not going to back it up. And then when pressed about it, he's still going to be like, well, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care about drops. Just keep throwing. You lead the league and you're tied for second in the league in drops. That's unacceptable. For a guy that's supposed to be Odell Beckham, for the guy that's supposed to be Homer Jones, so for that guy that's supposed to be that big targeted wide receiver that we have been waiting for since we let OBJ go, you look an awful lot like Kadarius Toney. And like I said, I thought he was the right pick at 6 if you weren't going to go quarterback. I've said this a million times before. If it was me, I would have taken Penix and I would have taken Keenan Coleman. And you have the likes of Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr. and a bunch of other guys actually scoring touchdowns, and they just equally have as bad of quarterback play that Malik Nabers has. He's got to come up with something. He's got to come up with something quick. He really does. He's got to come up with a touchdown. He's got to come up with a big play. He's got to make that catch and then get some kind of yardage. I still see that play, him going across the middle. Drew Lock steps up, throws it. It's on a 3rd down. He was well past the markers. Malik just drops it. He actually had open field in front of him. He could hit the Jets, but he dropped it. And he dropped it because he alligator armed it or T-Rexed it. That's when you don't extend your arms, guys. So it's because you don't want to extend your arms because you don't want to get hit. That's a bad look. That's a bad look, especially for a guy that's now the voice and the face of the franchise. Because the voice and the face of the franchise we moved on from him. And the venerable Tom Brady, I didn't think I was going to, before Tom Brady even made this comment about Daniel Jones, I didn't think I was going to like Tom Brady. Going back to a couple weeks ago. But I think he actually calls a pretty astute game. He actually has some great insight. He's got some great knowledge. I thought he was going to be a Romo. I thought I was going to hate him. But no, yeah, he's got some excellent insight in the NFL. Excuse me. Had to cough there. I would cut that out, but I don't feel like it. He's got some good insight in the NFL. And with a guy with all the rings, why wouldn't he? But here's what he said during the broadcast, and I give him all the kudos and props for actually speaking the truth about Daniel Jones.
Safety essentially in practice.
Yeah, I don't know how that whole situation went down, but to think that you would ask for a release from a team that committed a lot to you is maybe different than I would have handled that. I always felt I wanted to get the trust and respect of my teammates regardless situation, knowing that I was trying to do the best I could for the team because that was the most important thing.
Rock almost gets crushed that time by Parsons, and he got away from it. It's incomplete.
There's just some different things that happen in the NFL, and everyone makes individual choices, and I think we're all at points in our career face different challenges. And I faced them in college, and some things didn't go the way I wanted, but the people that mattered most to me were the guys in the locker room. I showed up every day. I don't care if they asked me to be scout team safety, be scout team quarterback. I was going to do whatever I could to help the team win.
That basically sums it up. And I've been saying this before Tom Brady said this. And Tom Brady probably said it some other places. But I've said it before. I think Daniel Jones quit on the Giants. That Daniel Jones was given all this money. He was giving all this accolades for doing nothing. And at the end of the day, he's the one that asked for his release. For all the people that are sitting there and don't cry for me, Argentina, for Daniel Jones feeling, oh, so sorry for him. He walked out on the team. He asked for his release. The Giants said, yeah, he got demoted to fourth-string quarterback. But to Tom Brady's point, you reached adversity. You have adversity. Adversity is what makes a man. You either run to the challenge of adversity or you go and cower and hide. And I think Daniel Jones went and cowered and hid. I think that's the mettle. I think that's the mettle of a man. When you're scared and when your backup is against the wall and things aren't going your way, that's when you know who you are. And when Tom Brady said that, it was like another light bulb went off into my head. I'm like, damn, he's right. He is 100% right. He literally hit the nail right on the head that Daniel Jones quit on. Not only did he quit on the franchise, not only did he quit on the city, not only quit on the coaches, but he quit on his teammates. And I always think it's because of the fact that we as a franchise.
What you say? I didn't stutter. I said, pop your titty out his mouth and stop babying him.
We babied him for so long that he just became that way. And that's what I'm starting to worry about with Malik Nabers as well. I want to talk about one other misconception that we have in reference to how well some of these rookies are playing. And I got into a little bit with someone in reference to Drew Phillips. Listen, Drew Phillips, I think from what he's coming to do and the way he's playing right now as a rookie, he's been asked to do a lot. But he is, you can sit there and talk about him, and you could sit here and give him all the props and the accolades that you want. But honestly, his season is not that stellar. His season's a little Aaron Robinson-esque. And that's what I talked about with the grabbing. I don't understand what's going on with the tackling. Everyone, Phillips is a big Phillips and Adoree Jackson are two big culprits of this. They try to shoulder tackle. They try to just lean their shoulder on someone and knock them on the route, knock them off the route, knock them to the ground. No, that's not the way how you tackle. You literally tackle by wrap. You lead with your shoulder, you wrap up, you drive with your legs, and you push someone, you drop someone into the turf. But recently the secondary, and like I said, I've said this about Shane Bowen's secondary before, going back to Tennessee, outside of 2 years where Jim Schwartz was his mentor. They have never been good. And right now, the warts are starting to show. Now, people are going to say, well, Tim, how can you say that about Drew Phillips? He's played in 11 games, started 5. He's got 55 tackles, 34 solo, 21 assists. Okay. Yeah, great. And I'm going to ask you again, how many pass defenses does your corner have? Just out of curiosity, how many pass defenses do you think that he has this year in 11 games? He's got 0. Ask me what his completion percentage against is. 80.6. He's been targeted 31 times for 25 completions. Average yard per completion is 9.6. He's also given up a touchdown. The passer rating against him is 113. We're going to read that again for people this is the guy that's playing 64% of the defensive snaps. Quarterbacks are completing 80% of their passes against him, 31 to 25 for 265 yards. Average yard per completion is 10.6 for an average rating of 113. And it gets worse because of the fact that if you look at his missed tackle percentage, is almost 9. For a top 20, top 30 corner, top 20 we'll say, your missed tackle percentage should be about 5%. He's about 8.9%. That's not what you want. And listen, he is a rookie, and I understand that. And here's the problem with all the tackles that he makes. most of those tackles, wait for it, are probably coming off completions. So if you have given up 25 completions and you have 55 tackles, that means the majority of the time all you're doing is stopping someone after they've already caught the ball. That was Aaron Robinson. I remember the game, like I said, that first game, Aaron Robinson's rookie year. He played in the fourth quarter. And I think he had 5 passes against him, and they were all caught. But everyone told me, "Well, look how we made those tackles." Listen, I played safety in college. I'll tell you, your job is to prevent, as a defensive back, your job is to prevent the other player from catching the ball. But when the opponents are completing 80% of their passes against you, and you have no pass defenses as a corner 11 games into the season, or he's played 11 games, I should say that. When 11 games that he's played, are we not seeing an issue with that? I think a lot of people look at certain plays that he makes on the field. A lot of times it's after the catch. I'm not, like I said, we have 1 interception this year. Tyler Nubin's played well. Tyler Nubin to me should be a linebacker because I don't think he's got great shakes as a safety. He's got a much better passer rating against him than Phillips. But you know what? Why don't you just slide him into the linebacker position and put him in the box, and then he could play. He plays the run very effectively, Nubin. I mean, like I said, guys, I think sometimes, like Tom Brady, I think we all need some football smarts. And I hope that John Mara looks at this and pulls a Wellington and says, "Listen, you guys have gotten worse. You haven't really brought in talent. You haven't really, at this point in time, managed the salary cap well. Your trades are awful. The free agents you let go are terrible. Your drafts are god awful. It looks like you whiffed on 5 and 7. And you're not retaining your own free agents. And you're bringing in guys that are washed up. I don't see this great talent evaluator known as Joe Shane. I just don't get it, and I don't see it. Oh. Great balls of fire. As always, this is Dennis here at Giant Strike, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Don't forget to like, don't subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell, join the light. That'll be awesome.